thank you for the gift card, thoughtful, much appreciated. And Elaine Struey, how nice to receive a nice gift card. 2 more.
Alright.
One hasn't been opened, ooh. And I just trimmed my fingernails.
Are you finding your niche? Learning the ropes?
Yeah, it's gonna take some time yet, but I feel a lot better than that. First time goes here, definitely.
You mean your head's above water?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
That is their business name.
I think so.
I'm glad I did.
I mean, it was,
And then, so I knew the birthday weekend, so on Sunday, for the game, I'm like, Sally, would you pick me up and make
I did.
rib
I mean, it's like,
combo?
I don't know,
Cause
it
they're
was-
back. And that was the last birthday deal.
Bless you.
So she went and then she got herself
So
some
just,
stores, but.
just a brief.
You guys got any holiday specials going on?
It's
Not
not
really,
like a
I
great
mean,
sandwich, but when they're back.
just every day something different.
I was looking forward to crispy.
Were you bummed when you had to take the patio down?
I was.
They are.
Ryan just texted, somebody grab the donuts off the front porch.
Yeah, I was like, we tried to keep it out as long
I'm
as
waiting
possible.
for them.
Madison and Mason got our donuts then. Stacy, I got some from Stacy.
Now we have wrestling and everything else going on in the gym, so.
Probably Andy left.
No,
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah, that's
only
what I
one that
figured.
will eat the raspberry filled one. So I got the whole.
That's what we do.
Hi.
We're
Hi.
Yep, I won't eat those either.
I don't know, the public forum is really.
That'll be there,
Yeah.
Oh, I like them.
Oh, I love
like
black
jelly
jelly
beans.
Oh, they're my
Are
favorite.
you the only one in the house though?
Yes,
See,
yes.
there you go, so you buy them.
How have you been?
Good.
I don't like
You
black
ready for
licorice.
the festive season?
Oh, I like black.
Good.
Ready or not, right?
Yeah, it's coming.
They still sell it?
How about you? Yes,
It's in the
Joel,
special
they
section.
do.
Oh, I never loved it, Princess.
You're
Doing all
missing
my
out.
semester tests and then turning grades.
the regular school board meeting of the Madison Central School District. It is Monday, December 14th. Mr. Brooks will record the members present or absent, and all members are present, which establishes our quorum. Next step, we will all stand and we'll pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, thank you. That was much better when we were all here, not agenda approval, is there any adjustments we need to make on that? If not, then I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Mr. Kaplan has, is there a second?
I'll second.
Anyway, we can better read through the minutes. All right, motion and second, any further discussion on approval of the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Approval of the consent agenda, items 7 through 9. First item is the November 9th regular meeting. And then Mrs. Schultz, Mrs. Kaplan, and Mr. Nelson went over the bills. Anything we need to be aware of there? And then on to item number 9, Mr. Jorgensen, the personnel actions.
Personnel actions, going to be tonight would be Benjamin Champion as a high school accompanist at $13.55 an hour. We're thrilled to have that in place because we were having focus elementary to keep everything moving up here in the middle school and high school. And also 2 playground supervisors, Carson Hunsley, and Alabama at $9.70 per hour.
So those are recommendations to approve those personnel actions. I would now entertain a motion for our consent agenda items 7 through 9.
So moved.
Mr. Bundy has the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Schultz. Further questions, discussion on the consent agenda items? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Ms. Beavers, are you here to visit with us?
Yes, thank you.
Come on down.
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I'm here on behalf of the Madison Education Association.
We'd like
to
take
this opportunity to thank the board for the American Education Week lunch coupons for our free lunch. We greatly appreciate that and you taking part in American Education Week with us.
And we'd
also like to thank you for the Mad Money gift cards that you've been so gracious to give us. And note that there are a couple of items on the agenda that we hope go through that'll also benefit us, the teachers. And also wanted to say thank you for approving the change in the calendar for ending of the semester at this Friday and having those 2 paid days off. We greatly appreciate it. Anything that you guys can do to continue to support the teachers, it helps greatly with our keeping our mental capacity up and keeping all of our spirits high during this COVID time. So we just wanted to say thank you, and we appreciate the leadership that you are showing. We have a strong board, and we wanted to emphasize that you guys are doing a great job, and please keep it up. Thank you.
Those are just small tokens of appreciation that we as board members have towards what the staff of the district is doing. First of all, to keep us in session, and second of all, to allow us to do education as it's designed to be done. So a big thank you to that, to the NCA and all of the staff also. Anyone else wish to make comments? Anything else here in the public or delegations? Administrator reports then.
I'll start off with the rapid tests that we've been using with staff, and now we're using them also as part of the quarantine if they want to be back after 7 days, whether it's student or staff, with the new CDC guidelines. So to date, we've had 69 of those tests. 21 have been to see if they could shorten the quarantine or not. The rest were staff, obviously, at different times throughout the start of the year that we used those tests on. Sentinel testing continues. We do 2 a week. And that'll be every Monday moving on, and that's a little different test. That gets, that's just staff that are asymptomatic, and that gets sent in here. Just a reminder, Christmas break starts on Friday at the end of the day. We'll continue to update as far as any positive cases and close contacts. However, I'm going to bring forward the idea of, rather than sending out emails at that time with the positive cases, that over the break that we post it on the same page that we post our weekly data. And I bring that up only from the fact of who will be here, who won't be here, trying to get the emails sent out. It can be done. It just won't be as efficient to do it during that time. If there's a close contact, that won't change. The close contact will still be an email go out, a phone call go out, and we wouldn't change that. Hopefully, once we get about 5 or 6 days into the break, we shouldn't have to deal much with close contacts because of the time frame, but we still may have some from practices and different things that go on. We wouldn't change that part of it. We would just look if the board's agreeable to that we would just post that on the website whenever we have a different case that may come up. I'm open for suggestions. We can sure keep it like we have, and my intent would be to go right back to that once we get back in session. I just thought over a break it might be a better situation for staff and parents not getting emails either.
I think it makes good sense.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no objection, that's how we'll move forward with that. Thank you. K-12 school employees have been included now on the vaccine. We don't know at what time. It's still going to be a ways out. Once we have more information, we'll definitely bring that forward. The Northwestern Energy Award, it was in the paper here a week or 2 ago now. I want to thank Mrs. Beth Knuths, who nominated her school and recognized the outstanding work of our staff. All the staff received $10 in MAD money, and that was from Northwestern Energy, so I want to again thank Northwestern Energy for that award. We also sent thank you video clips and photo to the Madison Regional Health System and our first responders and our caregivers. We received some very nice responses from them. The video links are also located on our website for anyone to see. Last couple things, governor's budget proposal came out. It was 2.4% increase. The CPI this year is 1.5, so it's 0.9% above the requirement, which is great. There's also $11 million in one-time dollars, and that's to do some backfilling with enrollments. But as of today anyway, we don't have those details on how that will actually be distributed, whether it's per pupil, whether it's averaging something out. We don't know what it is yet. We have a meeting tomorrow with the Department of Ed. Excuse me, not tomorrow, they slid it later in the week, so we might know more by then, or we might not know more for a while. I'm not sure when we'll find out about those dollars. And the last thing I'll mention is that the South Dakota pork producers, we're going to recognize 100 teachers in the state and give them a $50 pork bundle. So a number of our staff nominated a number of other staff, and of the 100 pork bundles that were given out, 20 of them went to Madison teachers, so that was nice to see. So sort of cornered the market on the pork. Great. That's all I have.
Okay.
Can I report?
Yes, you may.
With current situational market situation, we have 2 sets of bonds out there, our general obligation bonds and our capital outlay certificate. We're looking, and we've got some proposals, and we're getting some more, but we're just kind of going through to see if it makes sense at this time to do any type of a refinance or a refund on them. And we'll continue to work through that, but we may call a budget finance committee meeting to review if we can get a real strong proposal in on that. If depending on where markets go, it may be something we want to do yet this year or early next year. I just want to report that we're kind of looking through those and going through scenarios and try to reduce debt and interest payments
Awesome.
Mrs. Schultz?
I attended the delegate assembly, for the Associated School Boards, and it was held, via Zoom. And I will say it's the longest Zoom meeting I've yet done in my life, so that was wonderful. But I will say, it was very well organized, and the voting, I mean, I don't know how it all worked, I'm not very technological, but you would push yes or no, and then it would tally your votes, everybody's votes, and then you would know within 30 seconds if the matter passed or failed. So it was pretty good. There was only one time that mine hiccuped and I was unable to vote, but it was a unanimous vote anyway, so that was okay. I didn't need to raise a ruckus about not getting to vote. There was great discussion on some things that I didn't think would have much discussion, but basically everything that we wanted to have happen happened. I guess that's a nice summary of it all. There was nothing alarming that was voted on or passed or anything like that, so.
Do you remember how many total districts participated, Lauren?
Oh boy, there was, gosh, I don't know on districts, but there was 79 people.
Okay. Which is actually a little better than sometimes we get face to face.
Yes. Now, there were some that, left sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure number of districts though, Tom.
Okay. Each district has one delegate, so.
Right, but they could.
So more than likely that would be close to 80 districts, so.
Right, but, there could have been though people from like the board, right, from the association.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, just the office staff, the board wouldn't have been,
Involved in that.
probably would not have been
Oh, okay.
involved, so.
Okay.
Good. Anything else any board members have, or any other administrators? Then on to item number 12, the insurance committee recommendations. Mr. Brooks, are you gonna talk about that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, hold my sheet real fast. The health insurance committee met, we had talked about a few things prior, and then our health insurance funds continue to do very, very well. So our committee kind of met, and we're going to bring forward two recommendations. The first one is that we increase our reserve balance, and we recommend that we increase it to $750,000 even, up from about 705 is what it is now, so up a little bit. And then the second recommendation is to do a premium holiday. And what that is, some other districts do this when they're self-insured and their balance goes up high enough. It's a month in which we do not deduct health insurance premium, and they get the benefit of the school contribution to their checks. And so we would look to maybe recommend to do that in January on that. That was the two recommendations from our committee. It's very nice we're in a situation to even talk about this. First time in my 10 years, now we have been.
So, should we consider both recommendations as a single motion probably?
I think
Make
so.
the most sense, okay. So then the motion from the recommendation from the Health Insurance Committee was to raise that reserve from its existing 705,224 to 750,000, which is just a barometer that we use to determine where we're at with our reserve funds. And then the second portion of that would be to provide a premium holiday for all participants in the program for the month of January. So if someone wishes to make that motion, we can have further discussion.
So moved.
Mr. Nelson makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hanamichael. Questions or discussion? Brought about by two factors. One is we are very healthy right now. And the second factor is the fact that under Mr. Jorgensen's leadership, not by choice, but as he came in, we were not in that good a position because we had gone with minimal or less than minimal raises, and so this will help to offset some of those premium increases that we felt we needed at that time. Any further discussion?
And I'm sure it'll be appreciated.
Hearing none, then all in favor of adopting the insurance committee recommendation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Declare an insurance premium holiday and an increased reserve amount that we compare it to. Item number 13 then is establishing a COVID-19 leave bank for 2020 and 2021, current school year. Mr. Jorgensen.
And what this is, the COVID, the 80 hours runs out the end of this month, correct, Mitch?
Correct.
So we've had staff obviously have utilized that, and unless that would get extended later in January, those 80 hours aren't there anymore. So what this bank would be, and be for this year only because of the COVID situation, it would be available to Madison Central employees for this year. It would be used for COVID-19 related situations only. And before they could use this, they'd have to use up their sick leave, their personal leave. If there's any FFCRA or ERSLA dollars that get extended. And then we would propose that they would receive on a qualifying event 67% of the daily rate paid. They'd be eligible for a maximum of 15 days. And at one time when we were looking at doing this, we talked about 20. We went to 15 now because of the new CDC, and if you're out as a close contact, after 7 days you can test to come back in, plus over the weekends, we felt 15 would more than cover that. The request would be submitted in writing, form to the building principal, who would get that to the superintendent. They would qualify if they had a positive case, they'd be in isolation, or if a staff member close contact from outside the school requiring a quarantine, or in either of those situations they have a child that would be in one of those positions that they'd have to be out of the building, or a situation we put in there sort of as a catch-all directly related to COVID-19. And then an advisory committee of 3 could review if anything was denied, and we have a business manager and 2 board members that we would point to that. This may or may not, we hope not, get used a lot, depending on how the trend goes moving forward. I know in the supplemental budget, Mr. Brooks put 20,000, I believe, in there.
Correct.
I don't know that that will happen, but I just think it's a way to protect staff, especially new staff that don't have much for sick leave built up, and they may get put in a position for no fault of their own that they can't be in the building at least for 7 days. And then of course if it's a positive, it's 10, and they would use their sick leave first. So this would be after they've used their sick leave, after they've used personal leave, all that's been used, then they could apply to this and be 2/3 paid for that time frame. I know that Mr. Brooks brought it up, maybe you want to touch, Mitch, you brought it up at your business manager meeting.
I did. We had quite a discussion on what to do. You know, we don't know what's going to happen going forward. If any other additional dollars will be added or changed, but I brought this up at our meeting and it was pretty well received. The schools, a lot of them thought they would bring something back for theirs too, because you know, we do want staff not saying they're, you know, just not saying they're sick just because they can't afford to miss pay. This gives an opportunity to make sure they can still meet bills and obligations, and it's using then our COVID dollars for that to help them out.
And again, if those COVID funds get extended into next year, then this is even farther before we utilize. We just don't know if they will get extended or won't get extended.
I guess one point of clarification as we were going through this that I hadn't thought of previously. End of the school year, obviously, for the certified staff. What about non-certified classified staff? Do we put an August 1 date on it, or where do we?
We start the new July 1, correct?
Maybe June 30.
Okay.
Does that sound?
However, we shouldn't specify that as a part of this, that, you know, we all kind of figured through the school year, but we would say then through the school year or June 30th for those employees.
Yeah, we're just trying to find ways to protect staff, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Well, should we take a motion and then we can have further discussion? Okay, a motion to approve this. Mr. Nelson, is there a second?
Second.
We'll give it to Mr. Avery. Or who had it? Was it Rich? You had that? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Mhm.
Okay, so now further discussion questions.
I was gonna ask what kind of impact it would have if we took out the personal leave and just had them exhaust their sick leave, so they still have opportunities to take a break outside of work.
It's probably in their benefit to use the personal just because they get paid more. Well, depends on, project, so, yeah, in other words, this is the rough draft. We're just trying to get something in place. We're getting close to the end of December when the other wars go away. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be in there, no.
How many people are in this position already?
We've had 2 since the start of school that would have hit this bank.
And you mentioned before that there's a number of teachers that are in the elementary school that in the pregnancy protocol where they were asked to take additional time off.
Right, whether they're being directed by medical, yeah.
So what's their situation?
A lot of it depends on what type of sick leave they have available in that, but that will be maybe higher users because typically it's younger, less sick leave accrued, and they're being asked to quarantine 2 weeks before delivery date. So that would be groups that would fall to this.
If they were to use that 80 hours or, oh no, yeah, never mind,
They can always use their 80 hours,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And I guess, and I haven't even asked Mr. Brooks, but if we have someone already in that position, I would also entertain that we make it retroactive for this year. Anybody was caught in that, we're not trying to make it benefit to some, not other, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, if there's a situation where people aren't going to get paid, I'm hoping that you'll bring that forward to us so that we can at least have a discussion about maybe enhancing these.
I think it's something we monitor every month and see where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't want to encourage them not to be here, but if they shouldn't be here, they shouldn't be here, you know, that kind of thing, so I think we have to find a middle ground somewhere.
I think again, super job on coming up with a plan.
Yes.
So if I heard you right, now what about, you want the personal taken out of there or not?
I guess
It's
speaking from a,
here.
I guess speaking from a spouse of a teacher who's now retired, I think it would make more sense to use those personal days and get full pay than it would to take the reduced pay for those number of days also.
Cause that, after the first day, it's $100 deduct on personal. So depending on the situation, they're probably gonna come out ahead on that deal, by doing that, I think. It would all depend, some would, some wouldn't,
Yeah.
probably. Or we can give them the option to use it or not use it, I guess that's.
I was wondering that, cause of course, if they have doctor's appointments or something that would come up, that would fall under the sick though, right?
Yeah, but they would have used their sick leave.
Right, yeah, that wouldn't be the personal time is going to be for,
Yeah, so technically, they
that,
could
right?
use that if they didn't have it as a requirement, they could use the personal time from doctor's appointments
Right.
or whatever later too.
yeah, if they had, something that.
I just get nervous if we exhaust all their leave for COVID and something else outside of COVID. Then how can we help them in those situations?
So again, if we take the part out about having used personal leave up, I'm not opposed to that by any stretch, I guess, I don't know. But,
Building use is just in there 'cause that's similar to our other bank,
yeah,
but this is a different
this is
situation.
different.
I'm certainly not opposed to it either.
No.
Well, they can carry
Giving
some of their
them-
personal into the next year too if they don't use it, right?
No.
It's a user fees, yeah.
So if it was, basically, if we took it out of there, they would still have the option to do it or not do it.
Right.
So we could take that sentence out, and if they choose to do that, they sure can.
They
It
could
benefits them.
use it.
And if they choose not to, that's okay, they have it for later though.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So do we need to formally amend, or should we just through our discussion strike then, we'll be striking line number 5 from the proposal? Maybe to do it technically, we should amend it.
Yep.
And then vote on the whole thing. So I'm assuming, Mrs. Kaplan, you make a motion to amend that to strike line number 5?
I'll make a motion to strike line number 5 and leave it up to the
Discretion of the employee. Okay, so there's a motion to amend that. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Hanamichael. Further discussion on that item? Okay, all in favor of the amendment of striking item number 5, which is the personal leave requirement, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So then the document that we're considering is the document that was presented minus line number 5, which was on the personal leave. Further questions or discussion on the remaining portion of the document? Hearing none, are we ready to vote? All in favor of approving the COVID-19 bank proposal, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare it is passed. Continuing on, item number 14 then, COVID-19 incentive pay.
Mr. Brooks now tag team on this. We're bringing this forward. We made you aware of other schools, obviously, and again, this is utilizing COVID dollars, but there's nothing about this year that is normal, for lack of a better term. And I can't say enough about the staff and how when we put things in place for mitigation, it hasn't been a situation of why or whatever. They've just taken it and they've taken care of everything. I mean, and that's all staff. I'm talking classified, certified, and admin team. We would bring forward the idea of COVID incentive. We floated the idea of being mad money again, only from the fact that those cards can be used, or they support our local community as well. They don't have to be. It can obviously be a stipend, or that's a decision for you folks on how you want to do that, or if you want to do it. We are recommending that we do something. We floated the $350 out there for full-time and $175 for part-time, and that just has to do with COVID dollars. If we're looking at different amounts, then we just have to look at different funds we would use to do that. So you want to touch on that maybe, Mitch?
Yeah, so kind of what we did, we took the funds left available. We have 151 regular employed full-time staff and 25 regular employed part-time staff. And so when we backed down the numbers, it came to $350 for full-time, 175 for part-time. And then that uses the dollars we had available. And that was kind of as a guide for making a recommendation.
And across the state, it's varied. It's been anything from $100 to $1,500 and everything in between. We've done a lot of other things. We put the air purification systems in, and we've been proactive on that side of it. Having the 2 days next week where we're counting them as full days, paid days, that's a big benefit. So again, this was looking at the dollars that were in there right now, COVID dollars that we received, and utilizing them in this fashion. But again, it's been all across the board on amounts that schools are looking at doing, and I think it's safe to say that there's no one this year that's not doing more. And they were told that from day one. In the first meeting we had, that the statement that we shared was that there will be nobody in our facility, in our school district, that won't be doing more than we did last year. And we'll maybe doing things that we're not accustomed to doing. And again, I can't put into words what the staff's done. They've done a great job. So we bring that forward and want to hear your ideas. If you like it, don't like it.
Should we have just an informal discussion before we go to a motion, and then we may not need to amend? Thoughts?
Can you use Mad Money, I can't remember, like to pay your light bill and water bill and, does anybody know that?
Yep,
Yeah, you
the
can,
city
okay,
utilities take it.
okay.
And again, it's not that it has to be that, we just
Right.
mentioned that from the fact of, we help our community as well.
Yeah.
But again, and a lot of other communities, obviously, they don't have Mad Money, so, those aren't options. They happen to be an option for us, so that's why we mention it.
Right.
Personally, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I think supporting local businesses is a great idea. One of my concerns is that helps out the teachers a little bit, but one of the discussions I've had is what are we doing for those people who are losing their weekends because they have to deal with things? For example, yourself and maybe some of the office staff. What sort of time commitments are you having? I mean, it's one thing to have additional work to do. In my opinion, it's something quite different when you have additional work to do where you have to drop what you're doing currently, which means altering your plans in what you plan to do, whether it be the weekend or not the weekend. So I'm kind of curious as to what, who besides yourself have had those responsibilities.
The principals at times, without a doubt. I mean, the contact tracing, if there's contact tracing, I have to pull him up, could be the AD as well, I have to pull up. We're getting a little better at it, a little bit quicker than we were in the beginning, but, the hard part is that sometimes, and again, certainly not bringing this up because of the admin team at all. But there are times, obviously, that you're 42 miles away and you turn around and come back, because it needs to be done. And, just like I said, the teachers and classifiers stepped up and done what they need to do. It's no different, the admins know what we need to do right now, and I'll worry about that later, but, we gotta get through where we're at right now first, I guess, is the easiest thing to say.
Well, I think as board members, we certainly appreciate the leadership and the time that you and your administrative team are dedicating to keeping the wheels on and keeping us moving forward and things also.
Because we know that it doesn't just affect you, it affects your entire family. And understand that, and
There isn't anybody in our community that isn't affected.
exactly, yeah, right.
I'm not gonna.
But I know that we've taught, I mean, we are just so appreciative that we have the admin team that we do, because none of them have batted an eye that I've heard of anyway.
No, and they've been great.
And, yeah, everybody's just stepped up to the plate and done what they need to do. And in our school, I mean, we're still open, and things are going well, and so I really like the idea of doing this. I like the idea of the Mad Money, they can use it in whatever fashion they want, groceries or whatever, help out our local businesses, and I guess.
Well, then I guess, should we move forward with then a motion of an incentive package of the $350 in MAD dollars to full-time employees and $175 to part-time employees? I believe that's what we heard the recommendation to be. So moved by Mrs. Kappelman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bundy. Further discussion now. I guess I am just so proud to be a part of the Madison Central School District and to know that what we have been able to get done this year is just amazing. Tom is kind of a pessimist, and Tom never thought that we'd get this far by any means. When my mama named me, she knew what she was doing, and she named me down, that's for sure. But it's just, it's been a total team effort by everybody to make it go. And when we were sitting there in July in the music room trying to anticipate what we might go, we certainly were very fortunate. We made the plans we did and made them adaptable, and kudos to the people that made that happen.
Yes.
Small token, but still a token. Further discussion, Tom's talking to us. Hearing none, we're ready to vote. All in favor then of the COVID-19 incentive package of $350 and $175, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Supplemental budget, now we gotta pay for it, right, Mr. Brooks?
Yeah, now get into this.
So if you see the first page on that supplemental budget, it's kind of the format of which budgets are brought forward, but you'll see there's, we increased the nursing hours with our contract with the hospital, just due to meetings and being available when the numbers come in, so that was a change there. That second one, the thank you cards, this is what we gave, that card we gave to the staff, right around Thanksgiving time. That increases that budget portion. The next one is then the motion we made earlier, for the $350 and the $175. I would then cover that piece of the budget. Then the next portion, the elementary program, they shifted their lunches around to get more spacing, so they added a snack program. They have been fundraising and taking donations from it, but they aren't able to cover it all. And so these items actually come out of our admin meeting as recommendations, but so there's a portion of it to there to help with that program. And then that last piece is the COVID bank. It comes out of various appropriation accounts because we do want to leave it in their function line item. Because it deals with other federal programs, but we'll track it with the pay codes, we'll know exactly what we spend on that sick leave bank. And then the means of finance is the ESSER funds that we were through the federal dollars through the state. On the second page, just gives a little more detail on everything we've done with these ESSER funds. The top portion outside the box is what we used prior. We did a supplemental budget on that prior. And then in the box is what we're approving this time. So it shows the full account of what we've used those funds for. There is no requirement to track that, but I do think it's very nice to have a very clean picture of what we use dollars for, especially when they're granted the way they were, which is very nice. So that's kind of the recommendation for supplemental budget brought forward.
And the
Questions or
nurse
thoughts?
hour increased too, when this first started, for the first 2 months, we had our DOH went from 4 to 5. Sort of needed to be on those, so that lengthened her hours as well. And then there are times that we have, and we'll continue to have her come in on a weekend to do a test type of deal, so that's just part of it right now.
We're so fortunate we have that agreement in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So recommendation would be to approve the supplemental budget. We'll take a motion and second, and then we can have discussion.
So moved.
Mrs. Schultz, is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Bundy. Further questions or discussion on the supplemental budget? Something we're required to do, so. Thank you, Mitch, for the breakdowns, and
Yeah. I think it's good to be transparent with the dollars, so I appreciate it.
any further questions or discussion on the supplemental budget? If not, all in favor of approval of the supplemental budget signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Declare the supplemental budget is approved. Item number 16, consider purchase of an activity coach bus. I see Mr. Ricky approaching.
You might be, remember that on Friday for a football game, we had a call and we had a bus situation. That bus was then total, and we had $14,000 in insurance for it. And since that time, Mr. Ricky and Mr. Potts have been looking to see what's available. And right now, because of the lack of tours and everything going on, there's companies looking to sell some buses to try and make things work. So I'll let him explain it.
Well, first of all, thanks for letting me speak today, and thanks for approving the bonus for the MAD money. That's much appreciated by all of us. As Mr. Jorgensen said, we did have the accident with the coach bus. I'm not exactly sure when we purchased that, but I believe it's been at least 10 years ago. put a lot of miles on that bus, and when we purchased it, it was pretty old. I think it was a, what, 97 maybe?
Or it's 89.
89, there we go, an 89 bus. By the time, we did have to rebuild the engine at one time, but it was over 1 million miles on that bus.
Wow.
So we did get a lot of use out of it. It was totaled, $14,000 came out of it. And since that time, including the fall and now in these winter months, it's been a struggle to get everybody where they need to go because we've added these extra in-town routes in town that take up some of our extra buses. We've had to hire a prairie coach a couple of times to just get our during the fall season to get volleyball, cross country, middle school girls middle school volleyball, and then middle school boys to where they need to go. We've had to have but move the start time back for games so that one of the in-town route buses has enough time to get back and then take us to our facility, to our games. We've had to be pretty creative in what we've done. So it's since that time, and I know I was here a couple of months ago asking you to approve a mini coach, which that you did, and that's in the process. It's in the factory. That'll be a brand new bus, which will be nice for a lot of our smaller activities. But what I'm asking for today is a coach bus for our activities that would be able to haul. It's a 55 passenger bus. It's a 2009 bus that's 55 passenger. There's a bathroom in there that we wouldn't use, but it would allow us to get to where we need to go without having to wait and without having to use the yellow bus. I know our kids are spoiled. The girls had to take a yellow bus down to Elk Point Jefferson, and you think you'd have been asking them to have their teeth removed. So they are spoiled, but I think this is an opportunity for us. I've been doing a lot of researching, trying to find buses. I was trying to deal with Prairie Coach out of Del Rapids, trying to be somebody a little bit closer. Wasn't have much luck, so I should preface this by saying I have any stock in Las Vegas bus sales at all, just so you know that. But
You want a trip
that's
to
that's
Las
who we bought our the mini coach from. I get emails from them regularly, and I was just browsing an email, and I saw several buses. Mr. Jorgensen commented that, you know, bus tours there's not many of them going on. Granted, I'm talking to a salesman, but this bus that I'm going to ask you to buy today, in March, they had an agreement with another company to buy this bus for $110,000. And it's just been sitting there ever since. So the bus I'm asking you to purchase is a 2009 Van Hool Highway Coach. There's 493,413 miles on it. However, in March, they overhauled the engine. They did a complete overhaul on that engine. And I have when they sent this to me, they sent me the invoice from the company that did the overhaul. And the overhaul price on that was $25,797. So they put a lot of money into that bus. So there's a lot of new parts in the engine that should favor us down the road. We get $14,000 for the insurance, and we would have them put in outlets. It's just where we're at these days. The USB outlets will be put in so that the kids can plug in their phones and have them charging. That's something that we've already talked about that will be done. That's an additional $1,200. They would deliver it to us. We originally thought about maybe sending someone out there to bring it back, but Mitch and I talked, and we think maybe them having to drive it across the state, if anything happened during that time, then that would be on their dime and not ours. So we would have them deliver it. That's an additional $2,100. They would make sure that all of the DOT inspections would pass all DOT inspections, and all the paperwork for the DOT was in working order. And the total price for that would be $64,245. That would be delivered on site for that amount. We've talked to, they would finance it, but their financing isn't as good as what we can get locally. We've talked to First Bank and Trust. They've agreed to finance it for 3.5% loan. It would be a 5-year loan. We could make annual payments, and there would be no prepayment penalty. I think Mitch said that we would try to pay that off in 4 years. And then this bus and the other mini coach would both be funded out of the advertising money from the gym. This would not be any additional money that would be needed out of out of the general fund. It would be out of those advertising dollars, and Mitch can maybe speak to that a little bit more, but I please ask for your consideration.
Yeah, we did just finish off paying the previous new coach with the advertising dollars, so we'd be then looking for what our next projects would be. These two buses then would take those projects for the next 5 years. With the Detrans board, on years in which we don't have large updates or changes to it, would be the years we look to pay ahead, and we could probably get done in 4. If there is expenses to that board, it comes from these same funds, and so then we would just use those for that board. But it would also position us, we'd have 2 very nice buses that'll last us many years. It also sets us up for when they're done, is the time when the transport needs some updates and some display changes. We'd have those funds available for that, so it seems to fall in line very well.
The Booster Club has already approved that they would wrap it with Bulldog, you know, with the Bulldog logo and things like that. That was approved at a previous meeting, so as soon as we got it on site, we'd get them on that and have it decked out in Bulldog logos before we took it on the road.
What would be approximate delivery date then, Mike?
You know, I'm guessing we'll have it ready for after the holiday break. We'll have it ready to roll.
Wonderful.
Would be nice.
Because we don't want to have to travel on those yellow buses
Nope.
anymore.
No,
I bet your phone was ringing, so.
Oh, well, they're gonna take them tomorrow too, so maybe tomorrow they'll be ringing more. So tomorrow's another example of, you know, wrestling's going early, and so we're sending a bus early, and then we have to wait for another bus to get back from their route before we can send the other bus out, so it is definitely a need.
Okay. So we have a recommendation to go ahead and authorize the purchase of an activity coach bus. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Mr. Hammond, second.
Second.
Oh, boy, I can make a
Boy, I
Okay, Mr. Bunny conceded on that. Mrs. Schultz. Further questions or discussion? Mr. Ricky, thank you so much for your work on that also.
Yeah.
You bet.
Finding what I think is one heck of a good bargain
Yeah.
on there. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of purchase of the activity coach bus described, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We go on to adjournment, but before we leave, we need to redo our picture because Mr. Nelson has his picture clothes on tonight. So,
Thank you, Mr. Nelson.
and then also that will go in for the Associated School Boards publications also. So
Good.
we'll do a motion to adjourn. Who wants to do that one?
So moved.
All right.
I beat you, Steve.
Second, Mr. Nelson?
Sure.
All right. Further, no, that's not debatable. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Where do we want to do the picture, do you think?
Well, I am dressed like a Christmas tree, maybe, you know.